Hey everybody, how's it going? Nico here. And recently I have been toying around with the idea of bringing back some videos that people might not have seen from way back when in the old Scarlet Moon Magic days. I spent the morning downloading a ton of my old videos and doing my best to at least upscale or bring some of the quality back as best I can. Originally I was thinking of just redoing them all, but I just can't really redo them all. So I thought it would be kind of fun every now and then to do a little intro like this and give a little bit of a throwback video for people who maybe did not see the content or missed the content or can't find the content anymore. Of course, that channel was around back before a lot of algorithmic changes, as it were. This video is all about how being a helper and being in the spiritual community does not necessarily mean you have to take crap. And whether or not you are a spiritual worker professionally or not, I do feel like this is even more applicable today than it was when I made it 5 years ago, 15 pounds ago, and when I was still smoking. When I was making this video, at that point, I was already like, we've got a bit of a reign of terror thing going on. Maybe some of you will resonate with this now when you didn't before, and maybe some of you just need to hear this because this might be empowering to some of you who've been also needing to hear this kind of pep talk. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, how's it going? And yeah, I'm smoking. Sorry, I know not everyone likes the smoking. I have been sort of showered, I guess you could say, with more than the usual sort of nasty comments, people picking fights, people freaking out, and all kinds of things. And then suddenly, everyone's kind of turning around after throwing all the insults and throwing all the nastiness and saying, poor me, won't you help me? And I get that. There's a reason I think that some people do end up being that way. It is looking for help, it is looking for connection, it is looking for a way to vent and release a lot of pent-up negativity and toxicity and all kinds of things like that. And there are people out there that do a really good job of holding the space to deal. That person is not me very often. Not ashamed to say it. I think that there are many different functions, I guess you could say, what you might call a spiritual person or a helper is here to do. And we all have this assumption that that's all one thing. The truth of the matter is, that's not everyone. Some of us have other things to do. Some of us are helping in other ways. Just because you're in pain doesn't entitle you to be the person or the beast that made you. If you want to go and, return what's been given to you, okay. Go return what's been given to you to that person. Living or dead, there are ways to do it. Don't take it out on somebody else. You're just making them a sacrifice. I will not be a sacrifice in somebody else's process. I will not be collateral damage. I will not be the one you turn to attack because you don't have the nerve to take up issue with the source, because it ain't me. I know that I'm not the only one, because I've talked to plenty of people who've been also turned into the sacrifice. And I know this video message is not going to resonate with everybody, and this may turn off a lot of people who know that they are guilty, and we're all guilty at some point in time of taking out our day on somebody else. But if you make a pattern of it, if you make a lifestyle of it, if you make a 10-year journey of it, this will probably turn you off. I'm only so sorry. Just because you're here to help doesn't mean you're supposed to permit bedlam in your life. You are not supposed to permit abuse or harassment or anything like that. It doesn't matter from whom. At the end of the day, you can tell yourself, yes, poor them. They had a rough childhood, they had a rough go of it, they had a rough whatever. Of course, those are all things we need to have empathy for. But having empathy doesn't mean you sit there and turn into the sacrifice. You don't become the punching bag. Tried doing it for a little bit. I got guilt tripped and made me kind of feel like I was supposed to learn how to do that. I was supposed to, and somehow that would make me a more enlightened person. The truth of the matter is, no, it didn't. Maybe worse. Drained my energy. I feel like a lot of people have been sort of guilt tripped and gaslit into thinking that no, a good person takes it on. A person takes that abuse because you're supposed to look for the trauma that needs healing in that person. No, you don't. There are other ways to help in this world and to do good in this world. And sometimes it's stopping the toxicity, whether it's happening to you, it's doing damage to everyone around you, hurting people, crushing their light, taking away their quality of life. Letting that go on and letting that permit and just taking it and letting it degrade and deteriorate everything around it, you know, there's a term for that. It's called depraved indifference. But maybe it's not indifference at this point in time. Maybe it's just enabling. You don't have to do that. You're under no obligation to do that. I'm here to tell you that right now. You're under no obligation to take that. And online is also can be a tough spot to go, because you do have trolls. You do have people out there who decide that they're going to take their day, their week, or their life out on the anonymous and still beg for understanding. You can choose your battles. If you feel like, no, I do feel called to dive in deeper with this situation, because I'm called to dive in deeper with this situation, I can be selective with that, and so can you. Maybe in that selectivity, you can do a better job with that one situation than trying to be, you know, the receptacle for all of the negativity. Doesn't mean that you're not wishing love on the world. Doesn't mean that you're not putting light out there. If anything, you'll have more light in you to give to the world when you actually are able to have it in yourself to direct as you intend and choose. And taking abuse, even from somebody who is hurt, is not okay. You don't have to do it. You're not under any obligation to do it. There's no oath that you've sworn to take shit. There is nothing out there that says you have to take on all the poison in the world and be the sacrifice. Because there are people who will take advantage of that. If they can get by, you know, because they're not ready. They're not ready to change. You know, if they can get by having somewhere to dump, it's going to happen. And they're going to do it that way. You don't have to be that dump for them. Okay? You don't have to be the bin. You're under no obligation to do it. And for people who insist on trying to bring that stuff to me, or I'm going to say people like me, sometimes you're going to get shut down. Because there's nothing out there that says you're a bad person for putting up your boundaries, shutting down that action, throwing it back, telling you to F off until you actually get what you're trying to, you know, until you get what you find, or until you learn how to treat people. Remember, you tell people how to treat people. So until you know how to treat me, I can tell you to F off. And you can tell people to F off as well. Nothing wrong with that. I want to work with the people who are ready to work. I want to work with the people that are not content to find a place to sit down. And I certainly don't want to work with people who are abusive and nasty, projective, and out of control. Especially with the person who's trying to help them. You don't have to live by that like it's a rule or a dogma. Alright? So, just a little chat. Wanted to share that with you. Hope you guys are doing well. And I hope y'all are having a good start to your year. And I will be back soon.